So you start with a tubular cast on. I have a link to the full tutorial in the description below. And you knit rib 2 by 2. This means knit 2 and purl 2. Again, knit 2 and purl 2. That's the repeat. You do that all around and for the amount of rows that your pattern calls for. So now we knit entrelac in the round and we start with the bottom triangles. We need to decrease for this, so we'll do that in the first round. So you knit one, knit backwards or turn your work and purl this stitch. Slide the first stitch, and instead of knitting one, you knit two together, and that's the decrease. Continue, knit them backwards or turn your work and purl them. Knit those two, and instead of just knitting one, again knit two together to make a decrease. For this particular pattern we'll be decreasing the middle 4 stitches. So you knit the stitches, knit two together instead of just knitting one, you knit them backwards or you turn your work and purl the stitches, and you keep adding stitches until you have 6 in total. So here you see knitting backwards or you purl the stitches. Knit the last row, so it's not a decrease, just knit the last stitch. Another row of knitting backwards or turning your work and purling them. And we knit the 6 stitches again. And you start your next triangle, so knit one, knit backwards or turn your work and purl them, slip, knit two together instead of knitting one, and you repeat exactly as the previous triangle. You do this all around. And do not forget the decreases. If you have any questions, leave a comment below or contact me through social media. My info is at the end of this video. And in the description below, of course. Just showing you another triangle here. So you do that all around. Next we start making rectangles to the right. So you stop after the last row that you have knit backwards or you have turned your work and purl them. Then you pick up loops in between the edge stitch and the previous stitch. In this case you pick up 6 loops as if to knit backwards evenly along that edge of the triangle. If you can't knit backwards, I will be having a few short tutorials soon on how to do this. So I have tutorial on knitting backwards. I will show you also how to do this if you prefer to turn your work and purl the stitches or pick up the stitches purl-wise. So now you knit these stitches. The stitches that you've picked up only. You can always place a stitch marker to be sure. And now you knit the stitches backwards or turn your work and purl them, except for the last stitch. This one you knit together with the first stitch of the rectangle of the previous round. Then you knit the stitches again. And that's the repeat. You knit the stitches. Then you knit them backwards or turn your work and purl them, except for the last one. This one you knit together with the next stitch of the triangle of the previous round, because the first rounds are only triangles. And you continue until you have used all of the stitches of the triangle. The last one. And you continue in the same way. Make your next rectangle in the same way, picking up the stitches. And then knitting these stitches. Knit them backwards except for the last one. And knit it together with the first stitch of the rectangle of the previous round. Continue to make rectangles all around. Next round is rectangles to the left. So we knit an extra row after the last one. And now we pick up stitches as if to knit. Again, evenly along the edge and in between the edge stitch and the previous stitch. Okay. You knit these stitches backwards or you turn your work and purl them. Now you knit the stitches except for the last one. Now you slip the next stitch purlwise. You knit the next stitch, the first one of the triangle actually, and you take the slipped stitch around, over and around the knit stitch. And you repeat, knitting the stitches backwards or turn your work and purl them. Knit the stitches except for the last one. Slip that one, knit the next one of the triangle and take the slip stitch over and around the knit stitch. And you repeat that until you have used all of the stitches of the rectangle of the previous round. Not triangle, rectangle. Triangles are only in the first round. So now you continue, make the next rectangle in exactly the same way, picking up the stitches. knitting these stitches backwards and knitting them except for the last one. You slip one, knit one, and take the slipped stitch around the knit stitch, and so on. And now you alternate one row with rectangles to the right and one with rectangles to the left. Now I'll show you decreases, how to decrease in the rectangles. Here you can see a rectangle to the right, so instead of picking up 6 stitches, you pick up 5, so one less than the amount of stitches you need. So 5 stitches, and that's how we decrease on this side. Then you knit the stitches. And knit these backwards or turn your work and purl them, except for the last one. We need to make another decrease for the amount of stitches of the other rectangle. So now instead of knitting 2 backwards, we'll be knitting 3 together backwards. And that's how we make the decrease on the other rectangle, to have the same amount of stitches. And for the rest you continue in exactly the same way you make a rectangle. So knitting the stitches, knitting them backwards or turn your work and purl them until the last one, and knit them backwards together or purl them together. And you continue until you have no more stitches left of the rectangle of the previous round. And do exactly the same for the next rectangle. So pick up 5 stitches instead of 6, or 1 less if you have a larger amount of stitches for your rectangles. Knit the stitches, knit them backwards except for the last one, or turn your work and purl them. And only in the first row you knit together with the first 2 of the rectangle of the previous round. Knit together backwards or purl them together. And you do that all around. Now I'll be showing you how you decrease in rectangles to the left. So you slip one, and instead of knitting 1, you knit 2 together. That's how you decrease. And for the rest you continue the rectangle in the same way by knitting backwards or turning your work and purl them. And the last one, slip and knit. When you've finished, you cut the tail long enough and you pull the tail through all of the remaining stitches, as I am showing you here. Go through all of them, then you pull tight as you can, and make a knot to secure. Bring the tail to the inside of the hat and weave in. You can always make an extra knot, like I'm doing here, and keep weaving in your tail. and cut it. Don't forget to weave in your beginning tail as well. Just showing you real quickly how I do this. In the next video, I will be showing you an easy way to line this hat. Hope you liked this video. If you have any questions, here's my social media card and let me know. Thank you.